Hi there guys, welcome to Cook Along with Clive. This is our fourth item that we are doing with Cook Along with Clive. This is spiced chocolate hot cross buns. So we're just going to be starting off with making our dough. It is quite a process to make this recipe. There are 2 rises and it's an hour and a half and a 25-30 minute rise time. So you do need to have some time if you are going to be making this. But I'm just going to get in here, we're going to show you what to do. We have already done this dough for you and it is in your boxes. So literally we have done the first rise. The only thing you guys are going to have to do is follow the next part, part 2 onwards. That is where you're going to shape and proof and then pretty much bake it, sit back and relax. So what we got here is we got flour, yeast, we got our spices, we got sugar, some warm milk. This is going to aid the yeast fermentation, the process a lot quicker, so you're not waiting for something to heat up. We got some butter, some egg, some dark chocolate and some sultanas. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding flour to the container, your mixer. If you have a stand mixer, you need a dough hook, which is preferable. If not, you're going to have to knead it. You're going to have to get those muscles out, and it's going to take some time. You're going to have to knead it for a good 10 minutes. So we're going to use our stand mixer. Hopefully everybody's got a stand mixer at home if they are making this, but this process you're skipping, so you're safe this time. Next time, you guys are doing it. Alright, so we got some yeast that's going in. Whenever you're using yeast, do not mix yeast and salt together because salt kills the yeast. So as you can see, there's a little bit of salt in my cinnamon and my spices, so that's just separate. Once that is done, we're going to add the sugar. Sugar is fine next to the yeast. Alright, so this is going to go into the KitchenAid. We're going to add our hook, and first things first, we're going to do nice and slowly at the very beginning, just to incorporate all the spices, the yeast, the sugar. Obviously we don't want to leave it together too long. We want to add all the liquid and the rest of the items so that everything can combine and it can start working, fermenting. So here is our warm milk. We're going to add this slowly, little bit by little bit. I would add 3/4 of it and then just wait. Alright, you got to show this dough some love. Take your time with it. If you can turn up the speed, I'm going to go to speed number 4. And you can see slowly it's going to start to incorporate the sides. We need to add the rest of the milk now, because you have to also make sure if you add a little too much milk, it might be too wet. It also depends on humidity. It also depends on if you've weighed out the recipe correctly, or there's so many small little elements that could make the dough from being too sticky or too dry. Sometimes you have to add even a little bit more milk. It all just depends. So I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit here because we want to get all of this together. I'm going to add in a little bit more milk so we can get those sides. Sometimes if the dough doesn't catch, you might have to help it along the way. You might have to stop it, get a spatula and scrape down the sides. But this guy's looking good. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my egg. And you can see the more moisture you put in, it's going to combine, it's become one solid mass. It's going to collect everything off the sides that has stuck. And the more you knead it, the more you're going to develop the gluten. Once the gluten is developed, you're going to get a beautiful stretchy dough. So you're going to keep going with this for a good 5 minutes. You will see once you have kneaded it completely, it's going to be super soft. It's not going to be rough. If your dough gets out of hand, just stop your machine, push it down, and continue. So I'm going to let this go for, I'd say, a good 5 minutes, and then we're going to add the butter. So yes, I will see you in 5 minutes once this has kneaded completely, when we're going to add the butter. Okay guys, so this has continued for 5 minutes, and the gluten has developed, the yeast, everything has been incorporated. So we got 2 more steps. We need to add our butter, chocolate, and our sultanas. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to go half in there, if it doesn't stick to the sides like that. So this is how you'd almost make an enriched dough, is taking butter and beating it into the dough. It just adds a little bit of elasticity. Also, it's going to add richness. I mean, who doesn't want more butter? So now we're just going to get this incorporated. It's going to swirl around the bowl, so just work with the speeds to make sure, like, if you need to turn up the speed, you will see eventually all that butter will be massaged into the dough and it'll become one solid mat. Sometimes if it doesn't work, you have to help it along. I feel like I'm going to have to help this guy along, so what I'm going to do is turn this off, yeah, and then I'm just going to slowly take it off the hook. Scrape down the sides, because the butter is causing it to move all over the show. That's the only problem. Once you can see that majority of your dough is incorporated, we can just add in the chocolate chips and the sultanas. But I'm just gonna work this for a few more minutes until everything is complete. Okay, I'm going to add the chocolate. I think the only problem here, the butter was maybe a little bit too soft when we put it in, so just need to keep an eye on that. But adding the chocolate chips and the sultanas, they're going to add some stability, and hopefully everything is going to get incorporated. There we go. When in doubt, add chocolate and sultanas. I'm going to give this 2 more minutes, just to make sure all the chocolates and everything has incorporated. Okay, so what I want to do is take this off the hook. Alright, I'm going to put it through again. Okay, everything is together now. So what I'm going to do, just a last little mix. I'm going to empty it onto the counter. You want all those bits. And I'm just going to knead them all together. I'd have a good stand, you know, a leg forward, a leg back, and then use your arms and literally just push the dough down and stretch it. And that's actually all you want. Okay, So now we need to proof this for the first proof. Hour and a half. Alright? You can get a clean bowl or you can just take a dirty one. I don't like dishes, so what I'm going to do is the same guy. Stir it up. Right. Form a nice ball. You want to get the base here nice and smooth on the top. That goes in straight down like so. Cover it with some cling film, and you want to put that guy in a warm spot, not hot. Hour and a half. Once it's done, continue with part 2. Thanks guys. Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the spiced hot cross buns. As you can see, we've got these bad boys. They have had their first proof for an hour and a half. They've been in a great warm space, nestling up there, doubling in size with a cover on top. If there's no cover, they're going to dry out. You're going to get crispy bread. You want this beautiful, soft, luscious bread to work with. You're going to see now, you can see, I mean, when we were making it, you saw how soft it was. So proving just helps with that. Okay, you can see this guy. Now, look at that. You can see it's deflated a bit. So what we're going to do, touch of flour, not too much, just so that, you know, it's not going to stick. You want to roll that guy out. What you want to do is you want to fold the dough over itself just to knock out some of the air. You don't want to knead it again. You don't want to make this too tough again. So literally roll it and you're done. You want to form it into a long sausage. Yeah, I find this easier because when we cut it, you can either use a dough scraper or you can use a knife. So roll it into a long sausage. You're going to get the chocolate, melted chocolate, all over your hands. Just get in there, enjoy it. Alright, so this needs to go into 12. If you want to weigh it out and then count the grams and say it's going to be X amount of grams per one, go for it. If you just want to wing it, have fun, in the middle, and then you have 2. So 6 and 6. So again, in half, right, 3 and 3. So just careful, this guy tapers on the end, right? So maybe it should have taken a bit more, but it's not the end of the world. Have fun, cut it, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah. There we go. Oh. Smells amazing. So half again. 1, 2, 3. This guy again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Now, while you're working with these guys, if you're going to take your time and you're not too sure about how to mold them, put them all to one side, get a piece of plastic wrap, and cover them. You don't want them to dry out. So, biggest thing when you're working with dough, biggest thing is you don't want them to dry out. I've said it, I'll say it again. Hopefully, I'm going to be annoying the amount of times I say it so that nobody does it. Because you can get distracted and stop doing this, go, maybe you were thinking about having a cup of tea. Anyway, let's move on. So you've got these containers. If you have a tray at home that can fit all 12 in the oven, like an oven tray, perfect, all right? If you don't, use these guys, but unfortunately we're only going to provide you with 2 each, all right? So you're going to have to bake it maybe 2 or 3 batches. Alright, you don't want to overfill these. I would say you get 2 per container. First thing you want to, lucky enough, we have got this spray, so it's literally coating it, each one. If you don't have this spray at home, you can just add some butter or some margarine, whichever one you got. Worst case scenario, if you don't have any of those and you're healthy, a little bit of olive oil, alright? It's not the end of the world. You just want to add some lubricant so that it doesn't stick to the side. So, once we got these ready, take these guys, just going to get the camera a little closer here so you can see what I'm doing. Put it flat, the surface area with the smoother side, right? Put that down. And what you want to do is you want to take the sides and literally just fold them in, push down, them in, push down. All right, and then you're going to pinch them all together, right? And literally, there is a thing of beauty. If you have not seen one, there we go. All right, that guy going to go in there, number 1. Okay, so flat side. I'm going to say that's the prettiest side. So you want that as your decoration on the outside, because you don't want any of these bumps and grooves. You want a smooth surface. When it proofs, you're going to see it's going to be nice and shiny, nice and smooth, no cracks. So we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pinch the sides all up. Close them. If you see that it's starting to tear because maybe there's a bit of chocolate, just pinch it closed. You should be good to go. All right, and then pat it down a bit, make it nice and round, and that's gonna go next door. Best friends, yeah? All right, I'm gonna continue with these, and then you will join me once they have done their second proof. We're gonna finish them with their beautiful crosses, chuck them in the oven, and then pretty much good to go. Then you're just gonna need to make a cup of tea, sit down and relax. So, see you guys now. Hi guys, okay, this is part 3, well, I'll say 2.5. I just wanted to show you, once I've finished rolling all of these guys, I'm going to cover them, and we need to put them in a warm spot, and they need to prove again. Alright, this proving cycle is between 25 and 30 minutes. It also depends on where you're proving them. If you're proving them in a really warm spot, they're going to double in size quickly. You don't want it to be too fast. You want that yeast to activate slowly. So we've rolled them, they've gone in the container. There is some spray and cook or a bit of grease in there. What we're going to do is another little bit on the top. And we're going to take a bit of cling film over these guys. It's going to prevent them from drying out. So you don't want it to be touching it. It can just be over the top, covered slightly. And here are all my babies that I've done. I've wrapped up. Okay. These are going to go on top of the oven or on a windowsill. If they're going on a windowsill, make sure it's not direct sunlight. It can just be on the side. But that's pretty much it. 25-30 minutes. I'll see you after that. Hey guys, welcome to part 4. This is where the magic happens. We are going to be, look at those bad boys. Aren't they just beautiful? Most beautiful thing I've seen today. Anyway, we are going to make the mixture for the crosses, which is the flour and the water. Mix them together to form a paste. Literally water, flour, and you're going to stir that until you get a nice runny paste. Alright? Not too runny and not too stiff, alright? But all the ingredients that are in your bag, measure it out, mix it, get all those lumps out with the back of the spoon, and then put that into your piping bag. Alright? Piping bag. Once it's in there, you want to tie a knot before you cut a hole, alright? Add it to the piping bag, tie a knot, and then you're going to take this with a knife and you're going to cut the tip off, alright? You want to make sure that when you pipe it, it is at least, it's a decent size. You don't want a super thin line, you want a decent size line, alright? Like at least, I don't know if you can see that. There we go. That's what you want. So now we are going to take these guys and we're going to add the crosses. As you can see, they have risen beautifully. I'm taking the plastic wrap off. So I managed to get the 12 out. I'm lucky, I've got lots of containers. So you're just going to have to, you don't necessarily have to put them in this. Anything that you have to bake these in, they don't need to be held together like that. If you put them on a flat tray even, anything that your oven has got, you should be able to use. So we've just given you these just in case. Just because I have put these in here, you don't feel obliged that you have to use them. If you have a flat tray, if you have a metal tray, anything that can go in the oven, make the balls and then put them on the tray. If you want, you can leave a gap, or if you want them to be touching, you can do that. I would prefer a gap so that you can get those beautiful crosses all the way across. All right, so without further ado, we're going to start on the one side, take your time, and go all the way over to the other side. I've done this a few times, so alright. And now we're going to go the other way. And there you have it. Alright, those are going to go onto a tray, into the oven, 180 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Start on 15. If they're a little bit dark, take them out. If they're not dark enough, let them go. But do not exceed 20 minutes. Check them after 15. Anyway, we're going to cut forward to the glazing of our hot cross buns. These babies have come out the oven. Just come out the oven, still nice and warm. They look absolutely beautiful. What we want to do is we want to add the apricot glaze. So on one side you've got your apricot glaze. You are going to want to add some boiling water to it and just literally mix it until it becomes pliable. And you're going to take a brush and you're going to glaze those beauties. Alright? If your glaze is not working just with boiling water, to get it nice and smooth, just chuck it in the microwave for a few seconds. Literally, there you have it. So, I'm going to open these babies up and show you literally, these containers are so great because you can just chuck them away. Alright, here we got these guys. Oh, you can smell all those beautiful spices. Literally, get in there, cut that open, and you can see those beauties. I mean, that is just, sorry, I can't wait for you guys. Perfect. Have fun, guys, and everyone here wishes you a happy Easter from Wilsonvale and Keho. Thanks for joining us and hope to have some more in the future. All the best. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.